about comings and goings, and obviously there's been interest in some of these players, and kind of lukewarm kind of talk about kind of Carter Vickers and Bayer Leverkusen. There was talk about Kyogo obviously last week with MLS. Carry on with that kind of erroneous website article. Nicholas Kuhn is another one was talked about before the window. So there's a few things bubbling on. So he was asked about the kind of the prospect of players maybe getting bids come in for these players, and his response was quite interesting. He just basically said that they don't want to sell any of these guys. They want to keep them for the time being, but they're also prepared for any eventuality. So he's quite realistic and quite pragmatic. He knows that if serious money gets slapped on the table for these guys, Celtic have to consider these things. But what the key to it is having contingency plans in place. So he's certainly not panicking at the prospect of bids coming in, not welcoming them, but he's not particularly fussed about it, not scared about it. I think that was a phrase he used. He's not scared of speculation. Yeah. So that was fairly interesting. In terms of incomings, he still is looking. They had one or two, I think, in this window. I think they will go, as I mentioned before. I think it might take a bit of time in this window. We see it towards the end. But yeah, so he seems to be in a relaxed mood in terms of where the team is and also where the squad is in terms of the transfer window.
What's your gut telling you, Mick, about potential offers for Celtic players? That the Kyogo thing just seems a little bit mysterious, doesn't it? It felt a little bit odd last week. And are you half anticipating something?
Listen, if someone comes in with a £10 million bid for Kyogo, who's 29 years old, it's going to have to be really thought about. Because listen, that's the Celtic model is that you bring these players in, they get success, and they get sold. To kind of prevent that from happening, kind of defeats the whole purpose of the whole operation.
But midway through the season.
Yeah, that's the key to. I don't think it will happen in this one.
Champions League still in play. Do you know what I mean? I'm not sure that this one would be.
I don't think so either. But you also got to. I think something like that. I wouldn't think so at this stage. No, I wouldn't think so either. I think they can resist it. In the summer, it's a different matter altogether.
Yeah.
But it's cash. I mean, you're talking about a £25 million bid plus going in for Kuhn. That's going to kind of move the dial slightly, isn't it? That's going to give people a cause to have something to think about. But I think Rodgers touched on it as well. It's come down to the players as well. I think if that kind of thing turns a head or two, Rodgers doesn't want a player who wants to be going. Yeah. I think he'd rather say, right, if you want to go, I'll take the money and I'll go and get somebody else who wants to be here. So I think there's a lot that at play as well. I think that the base point is they don't want to sell these guys just now. In the summer, different story. Now, definitely not. But again, the market forces it sometimes, isn't it? You can't always choose. Listen, this time last year, Celtic resisted bids for Matt O'Reilly, but they were lowball bids. They were the bids that, talking Atletico Madrid, the money wasn't there that Celtic wanted. They wanted that 25 million barrier to get broken, and they were prepared to sit tight. And the player, in fairness, was also prepared to sit tight and wait for it as well. And he didn't get his head turned. I thought he was exceptional second half of the season. And fair play to him, because a lot of guys I thought the Madrid offer would have been very tempting. Yeah. So it's a lot of factors at play in the transfer market. But I said there's a reluctance to sell just now anyway.
Yeah, and by the way, there is absolutely no financial necessity to sell either, Mick. That's a comfortable place to be in.
But it's not really. I don't think it's always about just the money in the bank coming in. It's also about the model you sell to players that you sign. Yeah. If you sign a player and say, "Come to us, win a few trophies, you'll be one of the favourites." But when the time comes, if a bid comes in that you're interested in, we'll sell you. That's their selling point. If you start to deny players those moves when they come up, you think, well, what? You're not going to attract those players in the first place. You're going to block them from the moves that they're kind of sold on.
Yeah, so, you actually, I think what Celtic do is they hold up the likes of Matt O'Reilly as the example, don't they? And Van Dijk before him and Wanyama and all these guys, and they say, look, this is what happens. You come here, you get showcased, you play in Europe, you win some trophies, and then off you pop, and we won't stand in your way. We won't be a barrier to that. And that is the model. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. Listen, Celtic have sold guys in January that you don't expect. I mean, Juranovic leaving in January a few years ago I thought was a strange one, and I actually thought they maybe sold them for too cheaply. Mm-hmm. But so it can happen. But the key is when Juranovic was sold, Celtic had Arthur Johnson lined up.
An upgrade, In
the World Cup, the World Cup performing player coming in right into the team who has arguably going on and become one of the better players in the squad. So that's the key. The key is to have that, and that's what Rodgers is talking about today, having that contingency plan in place that if something pops up that you maybe don't expect, that you're ready to act to counter it. So yeah, it's a pretty relaxing environment at Celtic just now. Interesting to see how this window is, obviously with Paul Tisdale coming in, his first kind of main window. I know he was advising last summer, so interesting to see what the kind of the mood is around him by the end of the window and see how he's getting on. But yeah, it's all a bit kind of relaxed at Celtic at the moment. I don't think they're too worried about these kind of things at this point in time.
Well, I mean, in terms of players coming in, Celtic fans are getting a little bit excited in the comments section. In particular, one name that's kind of doing the rounds on social media today is that Louie Barry. He's the boy that's at he's at Aston Villa. He was on loan at Scunthorpe, or no, sorry, Stockport. Earlier this season, 16 goals in 24 games for them. He was at Barcelona's academy previously as well. I mean, look, this is one of the comments we've had in. We're signing Louie Barry. We should at least keep it fair for the rest of the teams competing in the Champions League. And Luke McGrath says as well, been linked with Turi, Kvistgarden, Ossister and Barry. My preference would be Kvistgarden. I mean, we've talked about players going out, Mick, but do you anticipate any significant incomings over the next couple of weeks?
I think there'll be at least 2 coming in. Yeah. I think they will bring in a wide player.
Yeah.
I think that's a big priority as a wide man. I think you see it just now with obviously James Forrest injured as well, but Kuhn and Maeder are the main men. And after that, I think Louis Palmer, I think will go. I think obviously last week there was a family bereavement that had to miss the weekend. He's back in the squad, I think, for tomorrow night. But I think I would expect him to move out at the end of the month. There's Yang there who, again, Rodgers talking about him today. He's talking him up. I say talking him up. It was been very complimentary, but also understanding that there's got to be an end product with Yang, and it's not quite there yet. He's very much a work in progress. So I think they're a wee bit short in those areas. Not an awful lot short, but a wee bit short. They could do with something in there. So I think I'd imagine a wide player come in. Interesting, Johnny Kenny coming back from loan and getting a chance at the weekend, doing pretty well, running about and causing a few problems. I think he might be. I think Rodgers wants a third striker, but the third striker is a difficult one because you can't keep that guy happy. How's to keep him too happy? So he might be the one that is going to be the young third striker that's kind of hungry and you can chuck him on here and there and try and chase a goal. So yeah, that might save him in the market, but I still think that's an area you'll probably look at.
And a left back.
The left back is an issue for the summer, I guess. But I'd imagine they'd like to get nailed down now.
Well, you don't think Kieran Tierney will be arriving anytime soon?
At this point in time, I think it's more likely to be the summer on a pre-contract rather than now. They don't really need him right this minute.
He's just going to go and sit in his bum for 6 months then at Arsenal. He knows that. Celtic know it. Arsenal know it.
But he's going to sit in his bum and make 110 grand a week, Keith. So are Celtic picking up that tab until you get a contract?
It's worth mentioning as well. Tierney last night, he came on for 6 minutes in extra time for Arsenal. He did put in 2 really good crosses, and he was trending on Twitter overnight down south. Arsenal fans really like him. They really rate him. This isn't like a kind of shot past it, Tierney that's up for grabs.
Yeah, if Kieran Tierney's going to come to Celtic in January, he'll need to crack a deal with Arsenal.
Yeah,
he's got 6 months left in his contract. It's a lot of money still there, sitting there for him. So he'll need to crack a deal with Arsenal, and then Celtic maybe can pick up some of that slack. But they're not going to spend that kind of money in January. We've got 2 left backs in the books just now. It wouldn't really make much financial sense, really. I
think it makes sense. I think it makes personal sense for Kieran Tierney. I think Kieran, for various reasons, wants to come back to Glasgow, mate.
I think he knows. In the comments there, I was just going to bring up people saying he might go to another EPL club, but you think he definitely wants to be close to home?
I think he wants to be close to home, yep. I also think he wants to play for Celtic again. And he's a wealthy young man. And, you know, what's the great thing about Kieran Tierney when he turned up for one of the games at Arsenal with his boots in a Tesco bag? This isn't a guy who is money motivated. Of course, everybody likes to earn, and he's earned very well. But I think for personal reasons, for emotional reasons, the tie-in with Celtic, I think this is a deal that Kieran Tierney can't do quickly enough.